Hello, Mr. Petrescu.
Hello, Dr. Reid. Come on in. Yes?
How is the sanitary situation in Whitechapel?
We hold on, despite the epidemic. Armed patrols have been seen in the vicinity for a few nights, but they stayed away from the dispensary.
Tell me everything you know about Camellia, the mute florist.
I do not believe in the afterlife, Doctor, but I'm almost convinced Camellia is an angel. She volunteered to give out our medical leaflets.
Do you need some help, Mr. Petrescu?
I am very tired, but that is all. I don't need you, Doctor.
Well, I think you do. Take this, and you'll feel better.
Free drugs from an English doctor. It must be my lucky day.
Goodbye, Mr. Petrescu.
When science fails you, this elixir will give you faith again.
Good evening, Zhao Shu.
Wang Shanghao, Dr. Reid. It's good to see you again. Why convince me to live if it was to kill me later? If it was a game, consider it a success, you cruel demon.
Good evening, Benjamin. Can I help you?
I'm afraid not, Mr. Reid.
A gun, alcohol, and a bad temper make a terrible cocktail, sir. Goodbye for now.
When science fails you, this elixir will give you faith again. The answer to all your problems, as long as you have the money. Its effectiveness has been improved by Its effectiveness has been proven by many. Even the flu is no match for the Swanborough cordial.
Equality between men and women!
We meet again, Mr. Kimura, in a more peaceful situation.
Dr. Reid. Still visiting London by night?
We must both be nocturnal animals, you and I. After your captivity, I thought you'd be more cautious.
Breathing the cold night air helps calm my mind, sir. I've had the most frightening nightmares since I escaped that filthy jail.
How is the situation in the West End?
I've heard rumors about armed men patrolling and fighting infected citizens in these very streets. I was lucky they didn't shoot me when I was abducted.
May I ask you what you do for a living, Mr. Kimura?
I was a landlord. A wealthy one. And not a very kind one, I realized recently.
Why this sudden epiphany? Is it because of your near-death experience?
I was already feeling nostalgic about Weymouth, my hometown. With recent events, I'm thinking about going back there.
What can you tell me about your abduction?
If you really want to know, I was locked in that building for 3 or 4 days. My jailer was insane, mumbling about sacrifice and voices.
What did he say about voices?
He constantly whined about the voice of his master, ordering him to do terrible things. He wanted to silence the voice by offering blood. My blood.
And why didn't he sacrifice you?
That was the weirdest part. He claimed to spill blood was not enough. It had to be done when some stars were aligned.
Which stars?
That's the whole point. He wanted me to talk to him about some Red Queen configuration or constellation. I've never heard of such an astronomical term.
Why are you so nostalgic for your hometown, Tadao?
I was focused so much on making money, I almost forgot that my relatives and friends are threatened by this epidemic.
Have you heard anything from your family?
I was not only a bad landlord, I was also a bad husband. I've not seen my wife and son for years. Busy, busy, busy.
At least now you're ready to go back and see them. But don't be surprised if your son bears a grudge, sir.
You make it sound like you suffered from an absent father yourself, Dr. Reid. Well, I'll keep your warning in mind.
Why are you so nostalgic for your hometown, Tadao?
I was focused so much on making money, I almost forgot that my relatives and friends are threatened by this epidemic.
Have you no friends at all?
Over the years, I'm afraid my greed turned me into my friend's adversary, while I became friends with my professional rivals.
Those you grew up with didn't share your views on money and success.
Would you believe I was once a member of poetry circles and an astronomy club? We were young, such joyful dreamers then. But I stopped laughing long ago.
Can you change? And is it what you really want? If so, it must come from within, not without.
I've seen what an altruistic gesture can do. Nothing forced you to save me, Dr. Reid, but you did. I will follow your example in these matters from now on.
There is no need to thank me. Rescuing a London citizen should not be out of the ordinary, though I'm afraid it may appear so in these difficult times.
You did not only rescue me, you fought for me. You put your life in danger to save me. That's quite extraordinary.
How will you cope if you're attacked again?
I don't know. I've heard about these men and women who patrol the West End every night, chasing criminals like my abductor. Maybe I should join them.
Tell me, Tadao, why was your abductor so interested in your passion for astronomy?
I don't know. We met a few times at the Royal Greenwich Observatory. He seemed to share my hobby. Then he invited me to his house and locked me in.
Did he fake his interest in astronomy to get close to you?
No. In his madness, he spoke about a blood sacrifice to be made to his master when the stars align to a specific configuration.
Yes. Astronomy is a fascinating subject. When I was a child, my mother bought a small telescope for my sister and I. We spent many a pleasant evening stargazing.
Stars are not just dots in the sky, Doctor. They are the key to our understanding of the cosmos. They remind us how insignificant we are.
You're right. But children love magic and stories. I remember our mother told us constellations have the power to protect us.
Protection by the light of the stars. That's sweet. You remember the name of these constellations?
Pegasus. It was the constellation my mother liked the most.
Memory's a strange thing. I can recite without hesitation the names of the 88 constellations. Yet I barely remember my own childhood.
Goodbye, Mr. Kimura. Take care.
Is there anything to connect me to this city anymore?
Waiting for you to let your guard down. It could be someone you know. Even someone you're close to.
Rats. Tasty rats. Those clever rodents are cautious now. They won't approach.
I must go now. Goodbye, Miss Billow. It's locked, all right.
Have you found the answers you were looking for, young Ekon?
There is too much left unanswered. So many questions.
Get to know us, spend time with us, and I may be willing to answer more questions.
What manner of creature is Harriet? She is different from everyone else.
I really don't know. I'm not even certain she is a skull. I've no idea as to what blood made her.
What is a skull, in fact, in your honest opinion?
The progeny of a vampire, disavowed by her maker. Perhaps a fruitless branch of a noble tree. A word used to enslave us. I cannot say.
You mentioned that vampire blood has tremendous potency. You believe it to be stronger than your own?
The vampire's sweet blood. That rich, dark wine that we crave. For it made us, and it can sustain us.
I thank you for your time, madam. I must go back to Hampton now.
Your kindness has been ample payment, Ekon. To protect us, I'll close the access to our hideout, but you can use our shortcut to reach Mr. Hampton's shelter. Just follow the arrows.
Thank you, old Bridget. I hope we'll meet again.
Ascalon has stalked us for ages upon ages.
Old Bridget says you are one to trust.
It's locked. It's locked, all right. It's locked.
No more questions, Dr. Reid.
It's locked, all right. Good evening, young man.
There's no need to call me that, Dr. Reid.
Have you heard anything recently concerning Sean Hampton's shelter?
He keeps investing time helping the poor and sick. Good for him. And for them.
Are you feeling worried about the sanitary situation in London?
This city is falling apart. The disease kills so many people. No one cares about anything or anyone anymore but themselves.
Show me what you have to offer then, Mr. Nightingale. Good evening, young man.
There's no need to call me that, Dr. Reid.
Young man, do you require medical attention?
I don't like asking for help, but I don't want to be one of those poor sods dying in the streets.
There's no shame in asking for help, especially when you are in desperate need of it. Here, take this. You should recover in no time.
Thank you, I suppose.
Goodbye. Good evening, sir. I'm glad to see you safe.
I am not safe. I should never have come back here. My life is in danger. I know it.
You're much safer here than in that contaminated area.
Bullets kill people quicker than diseases and epidemics, Dr. Reid.
Do you have recent news of Sean Hampton's shelter?
I heard he kept on helping people, but I tried to stay away from his shelter. I don't feel safe there.
Are you worried about the sanitary situation in London?
Not really. I've spent so many days hiding to escape retaliation from the wet boot boys. Now that there's so much chaos, they might forget about me.
What can you tell me about this district?
The East End docks only knows one rule. Dog eat dog, and blood calls for blood. The gang will have their revenge on me one way or another.
What can you tell me about the locals?
Most people would say that Sean Hampton and Tom Watts are good men who try to sort things out. But for me, the real boss around there was my best friend, Jack Gillingham.
Jack Gillingham, you say?
Everyone round there knew Jack. He was a rock. A mountain, even. He feared nothing.
Your friend Jack has something to do with you fleeing to the contaminated area where I found you. I want to know more.
Jack is dead. That's all you need to know. Dead because of me. So much violence. So much sorrow. All of that because I refuse to be insulted again.
No man can predict the exact outcome of his actions. It's the curse we have to live with. We can only gamble and do what we think is best.
Perhaps you're right. The district was doomed before I was born. But I cannot stop myself thinking that Jack died for me.
Why do you say that?
After I killed that gang member, the wet boot boy suspected Jack. And being loyal and all, he did not refute the accusation.
You are not going to spend the rest of your life hiding, Rodney. What are you planning to do?
Honestly, I have no idea. How am I supposed to live while so many have suffered because of me?
Only you can answer that question. But one thing is certain. Since you owe Jack your life, I think it's fair to live it in a way that would make him proud.
That's the kind of thing Jack could have said, Dr. Reid. Thank you for that. I believe you're a good guy too.
The death of your friend has affected you deeply, hasn't it?
Jack Gillingham was the real deal. He believed we could change the world if we were united and focused enough. And he brought out the best in each of us.
You're right. He died to save you. That alone gives me an idea of the kind of man he was.
He was the bravest. And no one dares to say openly that he got killed by those bastards.
The death of your friend has affected you deeply, hasn't it?
Jack Gillingham was the real deal. He believed we could change the world if we were united and focused enough. And he brought out the best in each of us.
Your friend's plan was audacious, if not reckless. No one stands up by themselves to a gang like the Wet Boot Boys.
How dare you say that? You never met him.
Do you need help, Mr. Grader?
Death by disease or by bullet? Do I really have to choose?
Well, I have nothing to stop the bullets, but this should make you feel better.
You have a strange sense of humor, Dr. Reid. But thanks anyway.
Goodbye, Mr. Grader. Take care. Good evening, Miss Gillingham. May I come in?
Of course, of course. So, Dr. Tippets, what brings you back here? We haven't talked in quite some time.
Have you heard anything recently concerning Sean Hampton's shelter?
I've never heard that name before, I'm afraid.
Are you worried about the sanitation crisis in London?
Too much noise, too much shouting. It keeps me up. Is it really gunfire I'm hearing?
Tell me, Enid, why do you feel guilty about your son?
I know I'm a burden to my Jack. I know my mind and my thoughts are drifting away. I'm so sorry. I can't help it.
This is not your doing, Miss Gillingham. You do not have to apologize for your condition.
Of course I don't, Doctor. I've done nothing wrong, I swear it. What exactly are we talking about here?
Goodbye, Miss Gillingham. Good evening, young man.
There's no need to call me that, Dr. Reid.
Goodbye. I cannot enter.
What have we here? Lost your horse, Governor? Or are you just out of your mind?